Can somebody please tell me why am I doing this in 33-degree weather? Yo, what up? This is Arctic I am Josie, and surprise, surprise, it's a book video! I'm going to tell you a bit about the books I read in May and June, and let's just get into it. The first book I finished was, this book is Anti-Racist. I already talked about it in my book haul video, bookmark here. Check that out. This book is written by a teacher and illustrated by a French artist. It's very colorful, and it talks about different topics. What is race? What is privilege? How can you be active in standing up for racist stereotypes and things like that. It's more of a self-help book, or just for young teens to be aware of what's happening around them and how to find confidence, their voice. And I would say that for white people or white students, the most important thing here is the glossary at the back and some research papers that you can check out if you want to learn more about the topics, but I enjoyed reading this. I think it's very useful to have in my classroom on the shelf. Now, the second thing I read was The City We Became, and it's by N.K. Jemisin, and she has written the 5th season, which is one of my favorite trilogies. She has written some other series, which I have checked out but not finished, but I have to say that this book is good. Usually she writes in a fantasy setting, and this is also fantasy, but it's happening in New York, and I was a bit doubtful at first to read it because I was expecting something else from her. But this was done so well, and let me tell you a bit about the story. The story is that when a city matures, they are born. And this has happened to a lot of cities in the past, like Paris, London, and some cities things go wrong, like with Atlantis. And we never hear from them again. Now, when New York City is born, they have one avatar and then 5 smaller avatars who have to combine forces, and all the small avatars are like Staten Island, Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Queens. So they are all embodiment of their borough, and ooh, I liked it so much. It's very imaginative. I have never wanted to go to New York. Now I kind of want to. But yes, they have to come together to stand up to the enemy who doesn't want the city to finish being born because it breaks stuff in other universes. This has racial diversity, like all of her stories. This has LGBT themes, like all of her stories, and this is very current. It has a lot of social commentary that is so uncomfortable to read, but that has to be said. I enjoyed this immensely. I know people I'm going to recommend this to, and I definitely suggest you to check it out. It's quite thick, but it is not that tightly packed, and it goes by fast. Now, the next book I have wanted to read for a very long time, and it's from Illuminae files, and this is the first book, Illuminae, and it's by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. And like I said, it's the first book of the trilogy. This book, it's not that imaginative in its story. The story goes that in a planet there's an illegal mining town, and it gets attacked by a rival company. And the rival company also uses a biological weapon on it, and the mining company is saved by a spaceship that is close to it, a battleship, and but the battleship is wounded, and they try to outrun the other ships. And what happens then? It has two main characters, a girl and a boy, and there's a bit of a love story there, but it concentrates more on the girl's relationship with basically yes, the girl's relationship with the ship's computer, and the ship's computer is called Aiden. And if you have read or watched the Space Odyssey 2001, you kind of know what the computer will be like. I have seen this plot done several times, but what is new about this book, especially, is its format. So it's formatted in a way that somebody has compiled all the evidence about what happened and is presenting it in a package of emails, voice clips, I don't know, maps, drawings, stuff like that. So this is like a header of an email. What else do we have? We have some kind of chat taking place. Then there's a picture of a poster that's up in a hallway. This is the computer talking, etc. I enjoyed reading it like this, and it gave a diversity to a plot that is quite predictable in my mind. Now, only thing that I found annoying, let me see if I can find it, is stuff like this. All the things that go on in the space have this black space behind it, and then these white words, sentences. If it's like some kind of battle, then they are circling around each other, but I don't need that to know that they go pew pew pew. I don't care, it's so hard to read. This is like okay, but some of these scenes are, well, okay, of course you can't read this, but some other scenes are, this is too much work for me. I don't want to just take this book all types of ways, so yes. I'm going to read the two other books because, well, first of all, I have already bought them. I liked it. I think it gave variety in that sense, and the computer was a cool character, the girl was a cool character, the boy, couldn't care less. But yes, it went really fast, although it's very thick because of this special type of formatting. Now, quick break. One of the other things I read was this comic book called Fearless, the Fiercest Ladies of the Marvel Universe. It was $1. It was so thin, I didn't realize that all the stories that are here are going to be cut in half, and I have to get the other editions. I thought that it would at least have some type of conclusion, but no. So, I mean, it's cool to have. I like the drawing styles, but I guess I have to like buy the compilation or something. Now, let's talk about this one. This is the only book in Estonian that I read. It's called Japan's History. And I read this because I was applying for a scholarship in Japan, and I was afraid they would ask me about Japan and its history. And like, what is my favorite period? Meiji, by the way. Why? Because I like industrialization. Not only in Japan, but everywhere. Don't ask why, I don't know. It gives a comprehensive overview of Japan's history from the beginning up until 2004, 2005. And I would say that it is very good, but I would say that sometimes the author gives his own thoughts and feelings on things which kind of caught me off guard, because this is not something you do in history books, at least in my opinion, because history has to be objective, but some of the things he says is quite subjective. I also feel kind of weird because he's talking about how Japanese people are like, and it feels like oversimplification. He says he's trying to avoid it, people did in the past, like being too oversimplified, but I just still feel like it's quite simplified. Anyway, this is a library book, but I have good news and bad news. I kind of, sort of now own it, because I spilled my drink on it, and now I have to replace it. But the thing is that this has been out of print for a long time, so I'm a bit I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll try to find something, but I now own this, so. And the last book, but certainly not the least, my favorite book of all these things that I have read is Antigone Rising, and it's by Helen Morales. Now, this book is pretty punk. This is examining the myths of ancient Greece, ancient Greek myths and ancient Roman myths, and trying to interpret them throughout current times and kind of through a feminist point of view, which is completely like fine and normal, because this is what we always have done with myths, because we have always viewed them through the prism of our collective experiences during whatever year or time it was, be it modern times, be it 20th century or now 21st century. I guess at some points it can be kind of reachy, but I mean, like, you all know this meme that literature teacher asks, but what do the blue curtains mean? This is more factual, or this is more literate. Now, this tackles topics like men's hatred towards women, men's need to control how women dress, and this is looked through how American school system has very strict rules what you can wear to school and what not. It also talks about rape, murder. It talks about transgender people, and a wide variety of topics, and then compares it to what we saw in myths and how it was depicted there. Has anything changed, or has it all stayed the same? It's so interesting. It's very thin, but it is what am I doing? But it's also something you can read by chapter, because all chapters have a theme or a topic that they tackle. I enjoyed this so much. I want to read it several times. It also talks about a lot of myths that I was not aware of, which I now know. And yes, it's very enjoyable. I like looking at the old things through new lenses, and it's cool. And these were the things I read. I am so behind with my Goodreads reading challenge. I haven't been reading at all. These were all the books I read. I enjoyed all of them, I have to say. And I'm looking forward to reading more this summer. Other than that, I am melting. Everything is coming off. Please stay safe, get vaccinated if you can, subscribe if you haven't. And that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.